Y'all caught me jamming again. What's up? Welcome to Love and Real Life. I am Terry Polite, your host, and with me, my co-host Veronica Neely Morris, and we go back like two flat tires, long time ago.
Yes, it's still rolling.
Yep. So, and y'all see, the other dynamic uh, uh, teammate is not here tonight. She's a little under the weather, so we're gonna hold down the fort for her. So, Veronica, what's good? What's going on?
All is good. All is well. Now, are you sure she's under the weather or she's still out of the country vacation? Either way, we do miss her, but the show must go on. You know what? I'm a little
Listen,
tired
hey,
today, but I'm excited about doing this show nonetheless.
hey, she gonna get you.
No, I know,
Get
right?
you. As bad as she feeling, she ain't thinking about going out the country right now. So,
Yeah, you're
you
right.
know,
You know,
um,
I have to jug at her just a little bit. I
yeah.
will.
And so last week, who was on last week? Me, and you weren't on, right?
It was the two of us.
Oh, okay, yeah. So last week I came on. I was in Georgia with my kids. I don't have little babies, y'all. I, they still my kids, but they're in their 30s and 40s. So, um, yeah, I stayed up there. So my oldest daughter, and help her and her husband with the kids while she was off in Italy shooting a movie, and she's a costume and set director, and she loves what she's doing, and I'm so happy of her. I'm so proud of her. It's good to um, see your children prospering. That's why whenever I see your daughter, I always give her accolades because she is certainly an amazing young woman, and I've known her since her early 20s.
Or soon earlier than that, but you're
Yeah,
absolutely
yeah.
you
How
go.
she's 30 now, right?
I think she's 38. She's 38.
Oh, okay. So
We
so yeah,
we
I've known her. I've
age.
known her early 20s.
Yes.
Yeah. So and to watch her grow and mature is just heartwarming. I feel like a uncle.
I was gonna say, your Uncle Vince, and for
So
your daughter who's been
yeah,
an educator for many, many years, and now having an opportunity to pursue her life passion
yeah, and so
in
successful at
education.
it,
Yes, yes,
and very successful. I know that makes you proud, not
yes.
because you have pride, but you are, and that's what I told my daughter. I said, I am so happy to see you doing more than I got the opportunity to do, because as a parent, that's what you want to see your kids get, those opportunities. I had some success in the music business. It wasn't earth shattering and it wasn't life transformation, but I had it because I pursued it. But now I'm watching her go further in that endeavor in the entertainment business than I got to. I had a lot of time where I spent with rappers, bass rappers back in the day, and all that kind of stuff, and doing shows and concerts and all of that stuff. That's all well and good, but I'm watching my daughter go international to shoot movies and stuff, and a lot of this stuff that comes on, it's a lot of Tubi movies, but that you breaking in. She's just only been doing this for a year, and she's already done like 8 movies. So she's certainly in demand, and I just encourage her to keep pursuing. So let's get on with the business. Of what we're going to talk about tonight is boundaries, the key to the self care. This is one of my favorite topics, talking about those boundaries. And what we have to remember is that in everything, uh, there should be boundaries. In all relationships, there should be boundaries. And so, tell me, Veronica, when did you first realize the importance of boundaries?
I'll be very glad to answer that, but I want to do a quick disclaimer with your permission.
Oh, yeah, go
The
ahead.
and the opinions presented today may not necessarily align with the perspective of the program or the viewers, meaning you. The information provided is intended for informational and empowerment purposes only and represents our personal views on the subject matter today. So, with that being said, you want to know that when I really started understanding what boundaries were and what they meant and how to set them, I would say
Hmm.
probably about 7 to 10 years ago. So, just recently, that I realized that I had a right to set boundaries for myself because you're always concerned about the next person. But to keep your own sanity, it became pertinent and very important that I set boundaries. First of all, I had to understand what I liked and what I disliked and what affected my peace. Once I understood what caused my peace to dwindle down, then I had to pay attention to the people and the things that were around me that created that trauma or disarray in my life. And I started setting boundaries. And I really got that from one of my dear friends who is a counselor that taught me how to set boundaries.
It's funny you're saying that because yesterday I talked I talked with the young lady who's a friend, and she works for uh, a close friend that owns a he has a uh, healthcare consortium,
Hmm.
and um, she has taken over recently and running his operations for administration. So she's over the whole thing now, and she and I have a good friendship, casual friendship because we work together. I've done some consulting work for them relating to teaching ACEs to law enforcement, and he's developed an app that's community available in that regard. So we have traveled to different municipalities across Florida and presented and taught this app and its use. And she knows me to be a very straightforward person. So I told her yesterday, I said, look, I say one thing about being in leadership, you cannot lead by committee. I said, you have to take the reins and direct people. And the last thing you want to be concerned about is your feelings. I said, when I was a supervisor and I managed people, I didn't buy into the whole thing. I need to uh, um, be concerned about your feelings because your feelings was not in line with what we had to accomplish at work. So if you felt like you didn't want to do something, then you can feel like that and go ahead and get an unemployment line. So lo and behold, I talked to her today. She said, Doc, it's like you predicted it. She said, I had somebody today tell me, well, it was a program provider and they want to get paid, but they don't want to provide the programming through the rest of the year. And
Mm.
she had to tell them, I don't care how you feel. This is what you better present or you won't get paid. And see, and I told her, I said, that's how a lot of people deal with stuff. They want you to consider their feelings as the equation. And as a business, you're not concerned about people's feelings. That's not, you're there to provide a service and make money. Now, who in their right mind would pay somebody and they're not providing the service as according to the contract? Nobody. You wouldn't get money from me. And I wouldn't care how mad and upset it made you. In fact, it would ensure that I don't use you again.
Well,
Uh,
that's a great segue to the next question that
yeah,
I have is one of the ways that we can maintain our peace is having a strong emotional IQ.
yeah,
You agree?
yeah. And strong emotional IQ begins with you knowing who you are, okay, and where your temperament lies. If you're a person that's always nervous, work on that. Work on be tell trimming that nervousness down where you're not so anxious all the time. You got to know what your emotional state is to begin to transform your life and get it to where you want to be. I, if you don't want to be a person that fidgets and is nervous or frightened easily, work on challenging that. Okay. The more you challenge it, the more you can grow in that area. You get stronger. Well, I don't have to, because sometimes, many times, what we're doing is we're having these battles in our mind. We're having this thing of I'm having this battle in my mind, and that's the only place it's taking place. So a lot of the problems that we run into with self care is how we think, our mindset. Our mindset think that. Case in point, if many people are passive because they are afraid of hurting someone's feeling, losing a friend, or not being popular or accepted in a group. How many people do you know that still live in that high school life now? A lot of them. They still worry about what people have to say about them, and that is a along with traditions are the two biggest prisons in our culture.
Absolutely. And it also says that the person is still needing external validation.
Well, it is that's what it is, because you want to be accepted or felt that you're needed. You're willing to allow behavior from others that clearly cause boundaries and cause problems for you. You don't want to say no. You don't want to restrict people. So you just let them do what they want to do. And that constantly can backfire for you and put you in a place where you don't want to be. So let's talk about the different types of relationship and the boundaries that needs to be in them. Okay, friendship. Friendship boundary should be one of the key boundaries is respect for personal space and individual privacy. Now, one time I had I did I think you were there. I think you were there. We were doing a workshop or something, and a lady asked me, well, how do I stop my friend from coming in my house
Yeah.
and letting up my windows?
Yeah, I remember that. And I'm like,
And,
wait for it.
and
I mean,
I asked her, I said, well, what did you tell her? And she said, well, I didn't really tell her. I just told her, I don't like when you come in my house and let my windows up. I say, this is what you do. The very next time she comes to your house, you stop her at the door. Say, stop. Let me tell you this right now. If you come in my house and let up my windows, I'm going to kick you out and you can't come back to my house.
but then we're going to lose friendship.
No, you're going to gain respect. See, we gotta look at the positive of what we want to come out of that. Don't if she got offended, she wasn't your friend.
True.
Because a friend is going to respect your right to set the rules of your house, and they're going to respect them when they come there.
Well, it's like the old, what is it, euphemism? If someone tells you who they are, believe them. This
Yeah.
person coming into my house and I'm constantly saying, don't let the window up, that shows me right then and there that they did not respect me. And I can't
Right.
imagine you've done that more than twice. Maybe the first time you didn't hear me.
Well, I'm not a person of twice. I'm really not.
You're not.
Because
Not
I
everybody.
will when I have a tendency to say what I want to say, and then I check to see if you understand what I just said. I say, now, do you understand or do you get me? And if you affirm that you clearly understand, we've set a boundary.
And I think that's important that we do that because oftentimes we may say a thing. That's why we need to ask that person, this is what I said. What did you hear? To get clarification because maybe they didn't understand. Don't let down my window, right?
Well, that and you stop it. So you set the rules. See, it's setting rules.
Right. Boundaries, rules. Yes.
Okay, boundaries are another word for rules. This is the rule of how to conduct yourself when you come to my house. Okay? because I certainly wouldn't. If I came to your house, right, and you let me in, I go on in, and I walk back in your bedroom, and I start going through your chest of drawers and your nightstands, you would absolutely flip out.
I'm probably gonna laugh because I'm gonna say, now I know he's tripping, and then I'm gonna be very
But what? Okay, so but
because I
now
know that's not
let's
your
take
norm.
that. Okay, but why would you laugh?
Because I know that there has to be something wrong with you, and
So
I'm
so
gonna
the
chuckle first.
would the laugh uh, be a reflection of your uncomfortableness
Oh,
with that?
absolutely. I'm laughing because after laughter, it's like, okay, now I'm gonna tell him one more time, Dr. Polite, what are you doing?
Okay, but see, that's what we mess up. A lot of people do that, and it tells the other
Okay,
person
I
that
know
you're afraid. It tells the other person that you're afraid to confront them. See, we give out, we communicate all the time.
okay, now keep it. We got to know the backstory. I know you. So if you can, your question was, what would I do if you came to my house and went into my drawers and all those things?
I
I
know,
react this
but
because I know you.
I've never done that,
I know,
and
but
I
you
can't.
need to.
But I'm saying you still gonna display that nervousness because why? I've blown past one of your boundaries.
Well, I wouldn't say that would be nervousness. It would be funny because I know there's something wrong with this boy. He done took
Okay, so
medication.
what would be funny? What would be funny about it?
It would be comical to me because something got to be wrong with you.
But why?
For me,
Why
it
would
would
it be why
because
would it be
that's how
comical?
I process things. It's not necessarily nervous. Again, remember, we're talking about everybody's a little different.
Yeah.
If I did that to you, I know you wouldn't be laughing. There would be nothing funny. Remember, you have a beautiful wife.
Oh, yeah, yeah,
So you probably wouldn't do that, but how I would react. But I think the main thing is that this young lady, my question would be, how many times did she do that? Then why do you continue to allow her to do
yeah.
that? And that
Exactly.
itself is going to let me know that there's something going on with you, not the person that's letting your window up every time, but
Well,
why did it come in the third time?
yeah, but it's been my experience that many times when people give that little stop, don't do that. We try to deflect the seriousness off of it because we don't want to.
Fairly bad.
We well, I think I always think this way, and this is something I told my wife. I said, why would you care more about hurting somebody's feelings and they're a person that don't care anything about your feelings?
I mean, we can go on with this here. Everybody's laughter and reasons for laughter is a little different. That's how I process things. Now, if I laugh and I let you continue to do it, because the main thing is what's the outcome. If I let you come back to the house and do the same thing, but I'm laughing because that's how I process, that's how I handle things. Not that I'm nervous, but I'm thinking there's
Mhm.
either something wrong with this boy or he done lost his mind. Okay, okay. Dr. Polite. So that's how I would handle. But the main thing is we're talking about setting boundaries. There are certain, like, your boundaries are different from my boundaries. Like,
But
you wouldn't tolerate a second time. I may.
yeah, but and what we're teaching when we allow boundaries to be blown past is that you can do this. I'm more than likely I don't know what to do in this situation or I don't know how to handle this situation. And there are a lot of people that will take advantage of that. Once they know they can do you any kind of way, they will continue to do that. This is the essence of bullying because bullies do that.
That's
That's what bullying is because they find your resolve lacking. They're going to continue to push the boundary and do what they want and treat you how they want.
true. True.
And a lot of bullies, the problem with a lot of bullies, they haven't been dealt with appropriately.
I
And you some bullies you have to bully the bully because they're not going to change any other way.
true. I
You
agree.
know, I remember I was at work and one of the clients, I don't know, this guy had a dislike for me. And he would come in my office cussing and carrying on and all of that and loud talking. And I'd kick him out. And one day he wants to challenge me in front of everybody. I took my tie and my jacket off. And I told him, I say, bro, I say, I'm you, but worse. Now you got 2 minutes to walk back down that hall and go to your room, or we gonna act like we back on Paramore. I said, because I don't care nothing about this job.
And I would react totally different. I would have chuckled because I'm like, okay, now
I wouldn't have chuckled, and I meant what I said. If I had to bust his head open with a weapon or something, I would have did it.
Well, thank God you didn't have to do that.
Because I would have made sure he understood that he crossed a serious boundary with me, and it was going to be severe consequences for both of us.
But what is that really wise? Was that worth your? Is that wise?
Is my life worth that? Yes, absolutely.
Oh, okay. All right. Let's get to the next question.
I can't get another life. I can get another job. See, sometimes we're afraid to draw those lines with people. And so we become subjugated. And then we go off and we say, dog, I should have said this. I should have did this. Because a lot of people, we don't deal with confrontation. And that stems from childhood a lot of the time. Because we were taught or raised in such a way that we don't stand up to people. Don't talk back to grown folks. A grown person is standing up there cussing a kid out, and that kid doesn't have the right to defend themselves.
Well, I guess I'm different because I still think if a grown person is cursing out a kid, I think that kid shouldn't talk back to that grown person. I think that it should go to an adult figure and have that adult take care of it. Because I want my child to get into a confrontation with an adult. I want them to walk away and come tell me.
But what if you're not around?
That's for a whole nother show. We're talking about
but that's the reality. A lot of times when these kind of confrontations happen, the adult is not there to defend the child. Because if the adult is there, I guarantee you that person usually is not going to act in that manner.
So what's wrong with that child just walking away because he got his feelings hurt?
Well, it's not that child.
People in the grave because they stood up for themselves. So I would rather for my child to be insulted, to feel, to cry, versus something tragic that he goes to his life.
I had my daughter when she was, I think she was about 7, and she used to go to the after school program at the daycare where her sister was, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I think she was in 2nd grade, 1st grade. I'm trying to think.
But she was a young kid.
Yeah. And no. She was in VPK because Jamina was just born. And she was at daycare. And so the one of the daycare workers called her a dumb dodo. And she was standing back there. The lady was screaming at her, "You dumb dodo." And she screamed back, "I'm not a dumb dodo. Don't call me out my name. You don't have the right to call me out my name." She stood up for herself. She was not wrong because we taught them, stand up for yourself. Because guess what? She's still human. And there's a lot of stupid adults out there. She doesn't have to bow down to somebody who's mistreating her. We teach that wrong. This is one of the reasons we have so much child abuse and molestation, because kids don't have a voice. You empower your children to have a voice. Okay? They were always told, if somebody touches you uncomfortably, come and find mom or dad immediately. Tell us immediately. You are not in trouble. So if you had to touch one of my kids, but at the same time, we prevented them from getting exposed to opportunities to be mistreated. You get what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
And so we made sure. Now their friends could come to our house because we know we weren't gonna do anything to anybody's child. That's just not in me. and certainly wasn't in their mother. But it was a thing of having a safe environment. And to tell you the truth, a lot of their friends felt safe at our house. They felt safer at our house than they did at home sometimes, because we would feed them, clothe them, and all kind of things for them, and make sure that they were well parented while they're in our home. Okay, because guess what? That's the way I was brought up. My mom set boundaries, and she didn't. You met her, and she did not mix her words. She did not mince them or stop them. What she said is what she meant. So we have to understand that boundaries are really a preventative process that stops a lot of the things that people really deal with. So, family. Now, I'm going to hit some nerves right here. Family boundaries: maintaining healthy communication and respecting each other's autonomy. My pet peeve with Black parents, and I have seen it. I was talking to someone online, and their child was in their late 30s, and they put up a post. I haven't heard from you since yesterday. You need to call your mother. And I made a comment, and the person got mad. And I made the comment, well, kind of, they're grown. Maybe they're busy. See, this ownership mindset that a lot of Black parents have is very toxic. We think when our kids get older that they still belong to us. And we don't know how to transition from parent to sage parent. And sage parent, I mean, is giving advice when asked. When asked, don't inject yourself into their choices and their life. And I have a thing with my kid, and I ask them, well, let me say this. Do you want my advice? And if they tell me no, and they do, then you know what I do? I shut up. I don't have to live with the consequences of their choices or their actions. I am there to be wisdom, love them, and provide wisdom to the best of my ability to help them when they need my help. Not micromanage their life. Not tell them what to do with their kids. Okay? And that's a hard one. Because I want to say stuff. I want to say stuff about my grandkids, but I don't do that. Why? They're not my children. I have to respect that. I should not have a say in where they go to school. I should not have a say in what they wear. I should not be telling them what to eat. Those are not my children. Those are my children's children. I need to ask permission. Okay? I can't just assume that's disrespectful. And think about this. You wouldn't want your mama doing you like that. So are you frozen?
No, I'm listening to you talking.
Because think about, we need to establish boundaries. Unestablished boundaries corrupt relationships. They really do. They do a lot of harm because we are festering and mad because a person does not respect our boundaries, and that's part of family. Respecting personal decisions, not interfering in adults' lives unless asked, and ensuring open and respectful communication. A lot of parents don't do that across the spectrum. And in some society, it's just very toxic. They say, well, this is our culture. Culture is not an excuse. because you have to know when to back up. I remember my mom and I had a conversation, and she likes to she liked to have her say, okay, because everybody else in my family spoiled her that way and gave in to that. I did not. I remember um, we were in the backyard. We got a garden patio that's out there, and I decided to put those little white picket fence around the thing. My mom walked out, looked at it, and said, "Ooh, I don't like that. You need to take it down." I said, "I'm not taking it down." She said, "Why? It's ugly. I don't like it." I said, "This ain't your house, and you don't have no say in my garden. Who you talking to? I'm still your mama." See, she did not respect the boundaries of this is my house, that's my yard, and I can do what I want to do. I didn't need to ask anyone's permission. See, now this is the point where we make the cultural excuse. Well, that's your mama. She's still my mama, but she was wrong in this instance. Her being my mother does not make her right.
That's absolutely correct. But let me just say this here. We're two different co-hosts, so we're not going to agree on everything. I would have to disagree with you just because you're wanting to hear from your child on a every other day basis. It depends on the relationship of the parent. Fathers are different than mothers. We want to have that contact with our child, and you can talk to your child every other day or two or
If
three
that's the relationship,
and
I'm,
not be
I'm not saying you can't. Listen to me now. So I want you to hear me with boundaries. I'm not saying you can't if that's the preferred
right. That's the
relationship.
point that I'm making. It depends
Yeah.
on each individual relationship
Right.
because my daughter and I have a relationship like that. We
Okay.
talk at least every other day, but I'm definitely
But
not.
y'all want your relationship like that. I'm talking about parents whose children have said that they don't want that.
Okay. Well,
And
that's
there's a lot of them out there. This is not a my remarks are not one size fits all
right.
remarks.
But you didn't say that at first, so that's why I brought it. So
Well,
now
I mean, I think a reasonable person would infer that I'm talking in general, and that doesn't apply to every relationship. I'm talking in particular though about relationships where a child has preferred to put boundaries in place and not have their parent micromanaging their life.
well, if that is the case, then you're absolutely right. They shouldn't. And like you said, that there everyone has a different relationship, especially like
And and
fathers.
and even if you have a close relationship, you should be careful about interfering. Ask them. Ask them if they want your help. Ask them if they want your advice. You don't go around telling everybody. Treat them as a person that they are. See, that's about respect as well. You can't give your relate you shouldn't be giving your opinion about her life because it's her life. Let her come to you. I'm just saying in general. This is just a general statement. Let them come to you and ask you. Don't go in there volunteering anything. They might not know how to tell you no. So they're in there suffering because I don't want to hurt mama's feelings. I don't want to hurt daddy's feelings. But they don't like it.
Right, I agree. Like you said, it depends on the relationship.
Yeah.
Because I do advise my daughter, even if she doesn't ask, but our relationship is this. She's a strong person, so she will let me know if I cross the line, and I always back up. So every relationship is a little different. But the main thing is, like you said, keeping your peace, maintaining your peace. If I'm a parent that's overstepping my bound, I'm causing my child or my loved one to lose their peace. So they have to know what boundaries they have to set to that parent. But
Yeah.
it's like to say situational ethics. It depends on the relationship with the parent. And what I've seen in
Absolutely.
my coaching experience,
Absolutely.
that
There,
fathers have a different relationship with their kids than mothers. Fathers like, let them out there, let them learn by themselves. Mom like, baby, come here, let me help you out. Doesn't
well,
mean it
we
doesn't mean
we
that it's
we
wrong
love
for
we
individual.
listen, fathers, y'all always dismiss our love. Our love
That would have
it
nothing to do with love.
well a lot of now this is now we're going into the male versus female thing, but a lot of women, a lot of men, women are dismissive of male form of love because they don't understand. And our thing is, it's like this. To us, discipline is love. It's a form of love. We're teaching you what not to do so that you don't get hurt a lot of times. Okay, when we go out there and we let little Terry fall on the ground and say, "Boy, get up, brush yourself off." We're teaching him how to recover. It's nothing to cry about. The pain's gonna go away. You're not seriously injured. I'm not gonna pick you up. I'm not gonna sue you. Why? Because every moment that you get hurt in life, there ain't gonna be someone to soothe you. So you got to learn how to self-soothe. So I'm teaching them that. Okay, pick yourself up, get back to it. And then I look at it this way, and I said this to my wife, and she went off on me. Y'all always think Arlene is timid. Arlene is not timid for nobody. Yeah, I don't get away with stuff. She is nice and sweet, but she is her own person, and she will let you know that unequivocally. So don't think my little wife is not her own person. I told her quit complaining. She was in pain about something, and I said, "Listen, just go ahead and exercise and stop complaining. It's your complaint ain't gonna change it." Why did I say that? So I got a real earful and a real lesson of watch what you say, because the way some people deal with pain and hurt is way different than I do. You know, and one thing about it though, she knew that before I got my hip replacement, I literally used to cry a lot of times at night. I couldn't sleep. I was in so much pain and stuff. But you know what? She always soothed me. She didn't say get up and quit crying and stuff. And I was in absolute anguish for some years. I would literally, sometimes it would take me 30 minutes to get out of bed.
And I can hear it
yeah.
sometimes.
Yeah. And so she approached it different. I was still trying to soldier on, because a lot of times when you saw me, I was in pain. People didn't even know the severity of my pain. Why? Because I was taught, suck it up, buttercup, keep moving. And that's that military man in me. So, in my MOS, they used to say, patch it up, die later. So you got to keep moving.
Dang, that's encouraging.
But that's what it is. You have to, you can't take, because this is the mentality I have. If I start crying, if I say my foot hurt, and I just sit there, oh, my foot hurt, oh, my foot hurt, and that's all I'm saying, what have I done to fix it, to stop it from hurting?
You haven't done anything.
Right. So why would I sit there and continue to cry? It's not going to change the outcome. I need to do something, get treatment, or do something to alleviate the pain. That's going to be more beneficial than sitting there on a rock talking about my foot hurt, my foot hurt, my foot hurt. We don't think about these things. Sometimes when we're crying, we think we're asking for sympathy or empathy. We're not. We're really not, because nothing is going to change.
That's true.
So why not put that energy into finding a cause and alleviating that pain in a more rapid manner than just sitting there on the rock?
In other words, cry as you're making the phone call to the doctor to set up an appointment to get this situation taken care of. So you can cry, but add movement to it.
Okay, the next one is romantic relationship, establishing mutual trust, emotional safety, and personal boundaries. Boundaries can encompass ensure in issues like personal space, privacy, fidelity, as well as discussing and respecting individuals' desire, needs, and desires. So, what can you tell me about that relationship? Tell me about boundaries in your relationship. What are
I,
some boundaries?
I think boundaries, you can use some of the same boundaries in your marital relationship, your relationship with your coworker. I mean, husband and wife boundaries, they differ for everybody. Um,
Mm-hmm.
like one of our things we do, I don't know if we even call it boundaries. Like when I know my husband needs his own time, I know him well enough to know that he needs, I'm going to use the term me time. I just back away and let him have his me time. If he's in his man cave doing his man thing, I don't just go in there. I don't knock and say, "Honey, are you available?" I don't just assume because we're married and that's this is our house and I can go in there when I want to. I give him his space and I give him that's a boundary for us. When it comes down to the amount of money that I'll spend without letting him know what I'm spending, like we have, like if I spend something over $500, we have to talk about it first. I can't just go to the store and purchase some $500. That's just the number we put in place. So if
Yeah,
I need to purchase an item, we already know because we have a financial meeting like every 3 months. If I'm
yeah,
going to purchase a bit, and it's not that me checking in, it's just what we put in place to make sure that we are economically sound in the future.
yeah. I got that. Now, Arlene and I are different. Um, for us, shared responsibility is very important in our relationship. So we don't have definitive line. We have access to whatever is going on with each other. Now,
Right.
the boundary comes up when it comes to family and others in our marriage. There are absolutely no entryways whatsoever,
Absolutely.
and we keep it that way. We make sure that people know that. Don't come to me telling me nothing about Arlene because you will absolutely catch my wrath. I got zero understanding for that. If if I need if some I truly believe that if it's something that I need to know about my wife, then the Lord is going to reveal it. He's going to let it come out and in whatever shape or form. But because we keep a covenant with each other and we constantly are in communication, opportunities for those things don't really come up for us. You know, I had a cousin that she always like, y'all are y'all really that much in love? And I was like, yeah, why would you say that? She say, I just have never seen it. And I told her, I I love my wife. I truly love her, and I admire her. I respect her. Uh, I want to protect her. I want to have her respect. I want to have her trust. I want to honor her. Those are the things that I need to give. See, I understood early on in this marriage that I could only be a husband if I had a wife. I could only be a good husband if I had a good wife. But that helped me because she is a good wife. It helped me to become a good husband and a good man. So I put my energy and time into doing that and not looking for things to separate us. I don't have my friends, her friends, where we go off and do all this stuff. We're each other's best friend. We do absolutely everything together. Uh, it's like we joined at the hips. Um, I don't think I've now she has went off on like on girls trips, but since we've been married, we've been together 21 years. I've never I've never had a boys trip. I don't do boys trip. Now I've had work trips where it, 4 times I went away um, for the whole 20 something years. I've only been apart from her for 4 months. Now a lot of people would not want what we have. I know that, but this works for us. This is what we have. And there's a lot of respect and honor in our relationship because we understand why we're together. And I think a lot of people don't understand why they're together more than anything else.
Mm.
Our relationship is bigger than sex and friendship. We built it on what our purpose is. And it's almost like we're kindred souls,
Mm.
you know. And it's hard to find a division between me and Arlene. It really is. So we've worked on that though. It didn't just come. We worked on it. We had to know who each other were and what was our hope uh, for each other. I had to ask her what did she see as a good husband. She had to ask me what did I see as a good wife, and so we worked through that. Now the next relationship we're going to talk about is neighborly relationship. Respect each other's properties and privacy. Boundaries might involve not trespassing on each other's land, keeping noise levels reasonable, and addressing issues through polite communication. This is a hard one for a lot of people. That neighbor boundary, and even in neighborhoods, you and I both live in HOA neighborhoods, and we know that it's always some drama. If you go down our uh, community Facebook page, man, it's like it's like one of the soap operas. And I was in there commenting, and I stopped because I could not believe the level of ignorance and silliness and pettiness that was going on. People are in there fussing because they got to find because the fence is falling down the house. Keep your house up. Your sloppy house impacts my property back, and so I understand that. So having good neighbors is important. We have a wonderful neighbor across the street from her, and well, we get along with all our neighbors, but we're not over neighborly. We don't go and sit in your house. I don't like that. Okay, I grew up in a household where my mom used to adopt puppies. I don't mean literal puppies. I'm talking about people. We had some of everybody come and live with us growing up. Our friends, um, when they needed to get, they didn't have the mother care or the family care that they needed. They would come and stay with us. And my mom had friends who were struggling from work. They would come and stay with us. I remember this one chick. She came and stayed with us. She was at Disney working, and I don't know what the story was, but she ended up basically homeless, and she came and stayed with us. So my mom was always a benevolent person and cared a lot about people. Me, not so much like that because I dealt with it growing up. When you always I got one sister, but our house was always full with kids and people. But it's a testament to who my mother was because she always was feeding folks and clothing them, and that was just her thing. She always was for the underdog. That was just her heart, and she was like that to the end. So with neighborly things, we have to understand that very much it depends on our personality, but we need to have respectful boundaries, not going in people's yard. I had somebody do that out here. They came in my backyard and took down my hammock swing and threw it on the ground out my tree. Because back here I got the only big tree in the yard, and it's beautiful. It's a beautiful laurel oak, and I saved that tree from getting bulldozed when I moved out here. So we got that. So what are your thoughts on neighborly boundaries?
Well, I've had experience with a good neighbor and a bad neighbor, and the
Mhm.
one thing you don't want is a bad neighbor.
How
Um,
was that?
what was that? Well,
I
this
say, no, how was it? How was the bad neighbor?
bad neighbor, it was very stressful because you would have to plan when you went outside just to avoid that neighbor. They just had I think they had a tree that was huge, and it was all the leaves were over on my side, and I think it was like mangoes, and so that interfered with my grass growing, and I would have conversation with them, and they just didn't care. So eventually they moved, sold the house, and we had not at this house here, but one of my other homes.
Yeah,
Just it was just, and then when you go outside, you kind of have to avoid them. I would purposely mow the lawn at a certain time so that I wouldn't run into that person. They would get up first thing in the morning, maybe 7, 8 o'clock in the morning, mowing their yards. Just had no consideration for their neighbors. And then, in the last 15 or so years, we've had excellent neighbors. I mean, even when my grandkids come over, I make sure that they don't go in the neighbor's yard
yeah,
nor throw anything in the neighbor's yard. And my neighbors, they have animals, but they always pick up after their animals. So I have excellent neighbors now. So
yeah,
it's a night and day. It's horrible when you got terrible neighbors because you got to see them every day.
yeah. Well, growing up, I lived in apartments, and I was either home or at my grandmother's, and we knew every person on my grandmother's street.
Mm.
So there was not much we could get away with as kids. We knew all the other kids on her street, and we by and large we got along because it was yes ma'am, no ma'am, yes sir, no sir, and we knew them, the Harmons. In fact, the young lady that's coming on the show next week, her mother, uh, uh, Angie Reeder, and we're going to tell y'all about that story. Tune in next week because it's going to be a great show. You don't want to miss this. We're going to talk to someone about a story that has been going on now for 20 years in Orlando. It's a whodunit kind of story, and it's going to be fascinating to talk with the family of this missing woman. She's been missing 20 something plus years now, and so we'll get the firsthand version from her family about what happened with the case and why they haven't been able to find her. So um, the thing is, I told you off screen, I know her and I know the person who's accused of being the number one suspect in her disappearance. And he is now dead. So, yeah, there's a lot of still unanswered questions: who, what, when, and why. And we may never know definitively what happened. So, we're inviting y'all to tune in next week for this show. What happened to Angie Reeder? Okay, we'll put the time up. We'll share the details this week, and definitely you don't want to miss this because it's going to be a great show, and we can help uh, some other people who are missing loved ones or searching for their loved ones. So check us out next week, same time, same back channel. I used to love that when I was a kid when they say same time, same back channel. And then Batman would come on there and go pow, zoom, zip.
That's when cartoon was really
So
cartoon.
yeah. So closing thoughts, Veronica.
One of the things I just wanted to share this here. One of the things that really stole my peace for many years was me comparing myself to other people. So if you're comparing yourself, or what I call comparative itis, when you compare yourself to other people, that will definitely steal your peace. Get to know who you are. Get to know what you love, what makes you tick, and work on that.
Why did you?
Why did I compare myself?
Yeah.
Because I've always compared myself because I felt like I wasn't good enough on the inside and everybody else's light looked brighter, and that dimmed my light. When I discovered my light, then it's like, you know what, their light does look bright, but so does mine.
Okay, but why? Why did you compare yourself? What was the catalyst, the underlying reason?
You know what? To make a long story short, I think it had to do with childhood abuse, and not really knowing who I was, and came into this world, so to speak, backwards, and just tried my best to see the light or find the light in someone else to make myself look brighter. But you know what? I realized that I got everything that I need to be great. And I began to see not only the light in me, but I was able to see the light in other people. There's so many reasons why people compare themselves with other people. I'm just saying that if you're doing that now, kind of take an inventory of when you do it and why you do it, and do the necessary work to stop doing it, because it's not helping you and it's not bothering the other person. You are enough.
You grasping those therapeutic words. I heard you throw out that take an inventory.
Yeah, you have to.
Yeah, yeah. Well, you do because, but the thing is, a lot of people they won't. They don't. It's a lot of unhealing is based in fear. But let me say this before I get it. Thank you so much for bringing Dr. Anderson Spencer on last week. She was phenomenal.
It's phenomenal.
She was phenomenal. We got to have her back on the show. The just what she shared was so enlightening. I've got a opportunity to hear other therapists and people speak on those things, but the way that she brought it all together
Electrified.
yeah.
Yes.
So you know,
feel the energy and the power in
yeah,
what you're saying.
and you can tell that she's very sincere
Mhm.
in wanting to bring that help to people, and that's what we need. We need people who are authentically telling their story in an effort to free others.
Absolutely.
Because the thing about a lot of people who are dealing with mental health issues,
Mhm.
they don't know that they need help. They don't see what they're dealing with as problematic. They just say, "Oh, this is life." You know, this happens in life.
And that word mental health is such a stigma. We don't even recognize that what you're doing. Like, I didn't know anxiety was a part of mental health, that was a mental health issue, because we think mental health is strictly one flew over the cuckoo nest. That's what it looks like. But there's so many different levels of mental health that we're not even aware of.
Well, do you know what the word psychos is?
No, we don't, but let us know.
It's spirit. It's spirit.
Mm.
So psychology is a spiritual endeavor.
It is. That's why I said the Bible is a book of psychology.
Yeah, it is. Best practices and what to do when you
Absolutely.
face with crisis or issues. It's got a remedy for everything.
It does.
People, people only reject things when they're ignorant of something.
And ignorant is not a bad word. It means you don't know and you haven't done the necessary
Right.
work to learn.
Yeah. You don't know, but the information and the knowledge is available to you, but
Yeah,
you haven't partaken of it.
absolutely.
So, and then a fool is one who knows to take it and refuses it. So, you know, and the Bible talks a lot about fools.
It does.
So, so we just got to know that uh, everything can be healed. And in this day and age, man, everything is on the internet. You can actually self calibrate yourself if you take the time to research and learn who you are. Do it. Don't do it for others. You can never fix yourself for other people. You got
Absolutely.
to fix you for you. You got to fix you for you. I always tell people when they come to me, if you want to work on yourself, I'll help you. If you don't want to work on yourself, then don't waste my time.
And I like to say at the end of the day, you are responsible for your own outcome.
Yeah,
I can
exactly.
choose, but you have to work them. And if you work them, they work.
Yeah, because I've seen people who some people just have this propensity to come to counselors and then want to justify their actions and behavior. I'm not judging you. That's not what counselors do. We are not there to judge you or determine your right and wrong. We are there to help you fix whatever it is you want to fix. If you come there and you realize you don't want to fix, I don't have to live with the outcome of your circumstances or choice. Period.
Absolutely. You know, one
So
of the things, Dr. Polite, I'm constantly saying, what Is that working for you? No. What you've been doing prior to consulting with me, has it worked for you? No. Okay, then do you really want a change? What does that change look like for you? These are the things that you have to do. If you don't do these things, then most likely you're going to be the same.
See, but you are such an awesome awesome coach because I remember that where you picked that up from because she was giving you straight
Oh,
AT
yeah.
double L.
Because I thought when I first started coaching, I thought it was my lack of skills that they didn't become better. I realized through consulting through you that it's an agreement between the coach and the client
Yeah,
to give you the tools that you need. I know they work. Number one,
yeah.
they work for me
Hmm.
and they work for others. But you have to put into practice or use the tools that I gave you. So if you're not successful, it's not on me. I'm okay.
Right, right, and that's taking ownership.
Yeah, absolutely. And I didn't
And
know how to do that.
yeah, and what the worst thing that you can do as a coach or a counselor is begin to break the therapeutic threshold
Absolutely.
where you become concerned and you intrude into their life. You're trying to control their life and you're invested in the outcome.
And
You
I was.
can't do it. Yeah.
That's not helping the coach nor the client.
No, you have to maintain that wall, okay, of professionalism that divides you from anything else. You're not there to become their friend. You're there to give them professional help based on your training and your knowledge in that field. That's all it is. They are a client. That's it. They're not your buddy. They're not your boyfriend, your girlfriend, or anything like that. They are a client who you're trying to help to overcome whatever obstacles they're dealing with. But anyway, that's our show. That's our time. And we will see y'all next week. Tony, if you're watching, go ahead and take you some vitamin C and get better. We love you, and we'll see you next week.